group in a long time, and we do like to help out with our Suitcase Project, with projects there, so it would be really great to learn about the coalition. The other great thing is I hope you will discover, as I have, what another wonderful person we now have in town. Chloe Collins, who is is the person who's going to speak to us, is a very energetic and bright and experienced person. She's had her feet in lots of different puddles in her journey along the way. Her most recent activity was up in the Burlington area, being the coordinator for the largest low barrier shelter during the COVID program in the Holiday Inn, and she was the house mother for 158 people. So she's got really experience. She's also, I got to enjoy 2 nights of training with her. I'm on this group in Bennington that's planning or trying to structure the police oversight system for Bennington. And we had 2 nights of training with Chloe, and she has a tremendous background in the legal world, and particularly in advocating for people who are at the margins and helping them find their way through this kind of thing. And the other special quality that I know about, and I'm sure we're going to learn more, and I hope you get to know Chloe because she's really an amazing gal, is that she is the mother of 2 twins. So that's really an amazing thing to be true. So let's give a warm welcome to Chloe.
Thank you for that very warm introduction, Marsh. I'm excited to be here, and it's true, I have 3-year-old twin boys, so they keep me pretty busy outside of work. So I'm really excited to be here. I thought I'd start by just introducing myself and telling you a little bit about me, and then move on to tell you a little bit about the services that we offer at the Coalition for the Homeless. So I came to Vermont to go to Vermont Law School. I had every intention of being an attorney. Kind of decided that it wasn't the best fit for me, but my favorite experience after law school was working at a couple of low-income and free legal clinics. So I worked with a lot of people who couldn't afford legal help but really needed it. So people fleeing domestic violence, homeless war veterans who needed help getting benefits or even identification. So I found that work really meaningful, which kind of diverted my path away from what I had planned to do. So I spent 5 years running restorative panels, which is, if anyone's ever heard of diversion, is very similar. It's when someone's going through the legal system, they are diverted or referred to a restorative program. So they'd work with me and a team of volunteers to come up with a plan to make amends to anyone who was hurt when they committed their crime, and to make sure they had the resources they needed to not reoffend. So that is a radical difference from our criminal justice system, where we spend $55,000 to $80,000 a year to incarcerate people and not give them new skill sets. So I found it to be more rewarding than working within the legal system. And then after my experience there, what Marsh touched on was I was co-running the Holiday Inn, which we had about 150 homeless guests, so the entire hotel was turned into a homeless shelter during the pandemic. So it was very both rewarding and challenging experience. We helped house over 60 people in permanent housing during the year that the program was there, which was really exciting. We wound up, I think, with a lot of people who were too mentally ill to engage in services. So it was really challenging when the state shut it down because those people had nowhere to go. So I was really passionate about continuing to serve the homeless population in Vermont. And so right when that ended, BCCH posted for a new executive director. And I saw the post and was really excited to apply. My husband and I and our kids have been in Swanton the last 5 years, which, if you don't know, is almost Canada. It's like 2 miles from Canada. So we're really excited to be in Bennington for a lot of different reasons. The people, the pizza restaurants, wide range of exciting things here. But I'm excited to tell you guys a bit about the Coalition for the Homeless. I know that there have been different directors in the past and different philosophies, and I know that they don't traditionally have the best reputation in all areas in the community, so I'm here to hopefully change that. We have 2 shelters. So we have a single adult shelter, and we have 16 beds at that location. Because of COVID, we had to go down to half capacity. So it had been 9 or 8 beds until very recently. So the reason why this is important to know is I think a lot of the community isn't aware that we're back up to full capacity. So since I started, we've been about half empty. So if you do know people who need services, we are available. We do intakes 24/7 now, so anyone can come at any time. And this is the big blue house on Main Street, 966 Main Street. And we also have resumed offering drop-in services. So if someone just needs a warm meal or a winter coat or a sleeping bag or toiletries, they can just come by any time and staff will hook them up with stuff before they head out. If they don't want housing and they just want to come in and get a meal and a backpack and whatever else. So that's really exciting too. I have been working to make some changes there to make it more trauma informed, make sure we can serve people who are handicapped, which, you know, we have some needs to kind of update the layout and get a better ramp access. So those are some things that are on my mind. I've had the pleasure of filling in a lot of shifts there, so I've got to meet some of the wonderful people that we serve, and it's just really rewarding work. This one guy came and he just really needed support, you know, getting employment in order to be able to afford housing. And he got a job at the dollar store, and then recently he just got a new job at Walmart that's $3 more an hour, and he was really excited, and it was nice to talk to him and just see that he's on a clearer path to be able to afford housing. It is, of course, I'm sure you all know, really challenging in Bennington because there aren't a lot of affordable housing options. So I'm excited to work within the community to hopefully partner with and create whatever resources are needed for those who really are struggling in the area. And then the second shelter that we have is a family shelter. So that would be for anyone with kids would qualify to stay in our family shelter. And we have 9, it's basically studio apartment units. So they've got their own bathroom, their own tiny kitchen, and so we can have 9 families at a time. And similar to our single adult shelter, it has been underutilized lately. So I think we might see a change in that as winter's coming and a lot of people are losing their motel vouchers. But as of now, we do have room. And so anyone can just call at any time and we can try to connect them to services. So we're really excited about that. In the next year, we're actually going to be moving our family shelter, literally just one house down on the same road. But we've partnered with Shires, and we're really excited because the apartments are just going to be bigger and nicer. And the building that we had rented from is really old. It still has knob and tube. Don't know if anyone knows about that, but it's an old building. So we're excited to move over and hopefully be able to offer slightly better services for our guests. So that's just a little bit about the organization. I'm really excited to be here and to be invited here by Marsh and to be able to meet all of you. And I look forward to collaborating with you going forward. And I'm very direct and easy to reach. So anytime you have any questions or you're wondering if someone would be a good fit, feel free to call me. And yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yes, Marsh.
So, tell me a little bit about the staff at the coalition.
Yes, absolutely.
What do they do? Because I have a sense that they do some pretty interesting things.
Sure. So we're a little bit understaffed right now, so I'm trying to hire a couple folks. So right now, if anyone calls out sick or goes on vacation, I have to cover their shifts, which is challenging. So I'm working tonight 4 to 10. So I'm looking forward to bringing on some new folks, but we have hired a couple of new people recently. One of the guys who I just hired has lived experience of homelessness, and he is just amazing. He's just the best staff I've ever had. His ability to connect to guests and create a warm and friendly environment and understand where they're coming from is just phenomenal. But our staff have to do a really wide range of things, you know, from just sitting at the front desk. We are funded mainly through government funding through HOP, and we only actually have funding for 1 staff on at a time, which usually is totally fine, but when things are going hectic, that person has to, you know, juggle a lot of different things. So from doing intakes, if clients come in at 1 in the morning and getting them set up, and to if somebody needs domestic violence resources or food stamps or any other resource, we connect them with that. We actually have a case manager who meets with all of our guests. So they're being provided case management services. And then in addition to that, if they tell us they have any needs or interests, we will connect them. So we can offer a really wide range of things. In the past, we were having someone from the bank come in and do kind of intro finance class. So we're happy to offer whatever services that people want. But we have had some challenges recently with just the hospital and the police kind of not having a place to put people who have pretty significant needs and then bringing them to the shelter. So we had a guy recently, and he was a disabled veteran, and my staff were helping him shower and take medication, and just really had to go above and beyond while he found housing, while he found somewhere safe and better to be. And his sister actually came by last week just to thank us all so much for going above and beyond and supporting him, because she understood that his needs were kind of above what our staff are trained to do. So I think that often the staff kind of are in a tough spot because we don't want to ever turn anyone away. But sometimes people have really significant mental health needs, or substance abuse issues, or just a wide range of barriers. So it's exciting for me that we can be a place where people can at least come temporarily to figure out their next step. Yeah.
I would imagine you have special challenges with families with children, and whether it be preschool or school age, what are those, and do you find resources to help you with that?
Yeah, so almost all of our families at Thatcher have kids who are around 2 or 3, at least right now. So they work with Sheila, who is our case manager, so that she can help connect them to any resources for their kiddos. But we also, try to provide everything that people might need there. So donated car seats, or donated toys or books, or I also just created an Amazon wish list so people can buy kids' books, and I'll go bring them over to Thatcher House. So yeah, we're able to connect people to services because we have the case manager, and then really the goal is just having a stable place to live makes the difference in being able to connect to all the services out there.
Is there a time stay that people can be there?
So ideally it would be around 3 months. That's what our kind of grant goal says. But that being said, we don't kick anyone out, especially if they're working towards something. So right now, for instance, we have people who are coming up on the Housing 8 section wait list, and they can't find anything. And then they lose their voucher and they go to the bottom of the list. So it'd be pretty unfair for us to kick someone out and say, well, you didn't get housing and your goal was housing, when there's nothing more they could be doing. So unless someone is usually like violent or really doing something that's very problematic and refusing to change, then we don't really ask people to leave. So the length of stay has really varied greatly, and it's been longer during COVID, I think, the average length of stay, which makes sense. So 3 months is kind of the goal, but we work with people as long as they need to get where they're going, as long as they're working toward getting somewhere. Yes.
Speaking of your wish list, I saw something, I think, the other day, and you were looking for mattresses and things like that. And I mean, I've got a hospital-grade waterproof twin mattress I can drop off anytime.
That would be amazing.
At the Blue House. And then, would you like to just tell us a little more about what you're looking for?
Sure. Yeah, so unfortunately, because the way that we're funded, we don't really have kind of the basic things that you'd think we'd have. So like, we'll run out of trash bags and I have to go buy them, or paper towels, or just those really basic things aren't covered in our grant. So usually our staff is just buying them. So we can always use stuff like laundry detergent is a big need, plastic gloves just for like cleaning the rooms is a big need, trash bags, and right now twin mattresses. We had someone with a pretty severe medical issue and it destroyed a mattress, so that's why I need a new mattress there. Yeah.
I have 2 questions coming, and following up on Kathy's. It's like, if it's not in your budget or in your grant provided funds, where does the money come from? Your staff goes out and buys stuff?
I mean, I've been buying stuff. That's why I've applied for 4 more grants, and we're working towards sustainable goals, but right now there just isn't really money for those types of things in the budget.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm coming from a finance background, so I'm interested in the bank that went in there to teach these finance
VSCCU?
skills or banking skills. What was the result of that? Were people who weren't banked became banked, or?
I think it was much more basic than that. It was like 101, like not even how to balance a checkbook, more simple than that. How to have a bank account, yeah. Yep, and it was VSCCU who came in and did that. It was a while ago, it was pre-COVID. But I just reached out to her and she said she'd be happy to do it again.
And there were good results. people?
I mean, there's really no way to track people's results of what they gain from any of the services that we offer, unfortunately. But in my mind, if people show up, that is a good result.
Yep.
Yes.
Is most of the people that you serve, are they local people that are just out on their luck, or do you have a portion of transients that are just passing through the area?
I'd say they're mainly local people who have struggled with homelessness most of their lives. I think the down on their luck is actually a small percentage of folks who struggle with homelessness. It's usually people who have had chronic challenges. But we do have occasionally someone from another part of Vermont who's here because a lot of the shelters are full. But right now it's a majority of people who are born and raised in the area who've struggled with homelessness on and off for usually, a lot of trauma and other issues stemming from trauma is the reason. Yeah.
I guess I have two questions now, because I'd love
Shoot.
to follow up on something that Jerry just said, because I have heard it said in the community that a large proportion of the homeless are people coming from other areas to take advantage of social benefits in this area, and it just sounded so wrong when I heard that. But you, from your point of experience, could you comment on that?
I would say it's not taking advantage of a social service benefit if there are no shelters available and you struggle with no transportation and no money to get your family somewhere you can house them. So I don't love the way it's phrased, but of course we end up with some people who are not from Bennington who don't have a shelter where they live, or don't have a way to get resources where they live, or who have their families here. The number one likelihood of supporting someone coming out of homelessness is having supports. So if they come here from somewhere else because they have family supports here, we see that too.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
My original question was, how strong is the collaboration between police and first responders and organizations like yours to get people to the services that they need? And then the second piece of that is, what could we be doing better besides that?
I think that could be done with our relationship with everybody and understanding that, we want to support everyone, but we need other agencies to also support. And I think the hospital also doesn't always know what to do with people who have significant needs and who maybe because of mental health issues are refusing to engage. So I think we end up with people who it's hard to connect to services because they might be struggling with mental illness and not want to connect to those services. So that's a part of it too. There's definitely a range of each day, depending on who I talk to at which organization. Some are really supportive and really want to connect clients to resources, and some are like the cop at 4 a.m. So we see a range. It's my goal, I know, to kind of help strengthen all those community relationships and do outreach and educate different community partners on homelessness. I think there's maybe a lack of awareness of, in addition to the 2 shelters, there's probably close to 100 people on motel vouchers. So we have a significant homeless population here. I heard on some meeting recently someone say oh, Bennington doesn't have a homelessness problem. And I was like, we got a lot of people actually. So I think just educating and making sure people are aware that this is a real issue in the area and that we can provide those supports the best that we can. Yes.
From the sounds of some of your population, you must be working with DCS?
Yes,
a lot?
we do, but they actually, they have no primary care doctors available right now. They don't really offer services on site. So if I want someone to go to the ER, they can go to the ER, but even though I've been meeting with them frequently, there's a limit to what services they can provide, especially on site.
Is that partly due to COVID or just?
I think they're just really busy and really booked out. I was just trying to find some new guests, a primary care doctor, and they don't have anyone.
Yeah.
So that's a struggle.
So one of the things we do, we try and do it each month, is a Suitcase Project. Literally, we have a suitcase where people bring stuff in and put it in. We deliver it to the nonprofit that we're working with. So it sounds like you need some cleaning supplies, laundry detergent. But the thing was, last year we did, for your tenure there, we did one for socks. And so what is your greatest need that we can help out with? We got 3 more, one social meeting and then 2 more in-person meetings here this month. So at the end of the month, we had a suitcase full of stuff. What would
Laundry
you most
detergent, trash bags, plastic gloves, paper towels.
What size trash bag?
Probably just like the 13 gallon. It's just for the normal
Kitchen?
kitchen trash can. And I also recently reached out to a local pig farmer, and now I have the whole shelter putting our food aside, so they're picking it up. So that's a fun little plus to decrease waste and make sure we're putting that food to good use.
Okay, cleaning supplies too?
Yeah, cleaning supplies are
Okay,
good.
we don't want to end up with like 2,000 trash bags.
Right.
We all brought in the same thing.
I can email Marcia a specific
Excellent.
list,
Yeah.
but we would
Great.
really, really appreciate it.
Okay.
I've been posting our wish list, but I don't know, it's hard to get people to engage.
Just send the link for that to us.
Yes,
I'm interested in what results you may be getting from the businesses about helping people get reemployed. Because I see a real chance for the two of you to work together. You've interviewed these people and you have something to sell about them, and you're going to follow up on them. I would think that would be beneficial to a business. And so the two of you working together, it could be very helpful.
Definitely.
Placing
So
these
we-
people in different kinds of work. I'm thinking like the town of Bennington in their highway work and their winter plowing and the things that they need.
yeah,
Just
so
make
we,
the connection, that's all.
definitely. So I've been meeting with the DECO, so we meet with various, and Voc Rehab, various supports who can help people find employment. And actually, a lot of people who are homeless are employed. So I think that's a little bit of a misconception, like usually a majority are, but it's just not enough to pay for housing. Most jobs don't pay enough, especially here, for someone to afford an apartment, even if they're working full-time. So most of the guys in our shelter right now are all working. But we have been working, like I mentioned, one of the guys who didn't have employment when he arrived and then got a job at the dollar store, and now he's moved over to Walmart and he's really excited. But that's a great point. It is a wonderful opportunity to connect people who aren't employed to a DECO and Voc Rehab and other resources who can help them find employment. Yeah.
Claude, I'm Beth Wallace. I'm the Family and Community Partnership Manager for Head Start, Early Head Start, and I oversee enrollment and family services. And
You have my kiddos.
I do. I can't say that, but you can say that. And Head Start is a grant, sub-grantee of UCS, which I think when I hear you say primary care doctors, that's not really United Counseling Services role, so I think there's a little bit of a misconception there, but
Gotcha.
my brain lights up as you're talking. The first thing about measuring family services, basically, or that kind of, that's like what we struggle with, right? Or that's been our task or my task. And I'm a self-described data geek, but would love to help brainstorm ways, to do data assessments.
That sounds great.
Questionnaires, just what was your knowledge before, what was your knowledge after? You put those results into grant applications and it really boosts things, right?
I would love that.
Yeah. And also, I think you're when you say you post your wish list and the Amazon wish list, we're talking about Facebook, right? So Bennington County Coalition.
Yep, and we also have a newsletter. So if anyone wants to be on the newsletter and gives me your email, then you also get all our updates.
Perfect, great. And then the last question I had is, I think Marsha was talking about, we've had a little series where we invite people who are new to the area, particularly young people, and new within the last year, to talk to us about what they do, what brought them here, and what it would take to keep them here. So I'm wondering if you have any ideas on what it would take to keep you in this area.
Oh, I'm planning to stay. Move my whole family here. We're really excited to be here, so don't have any plans to leave. But yeah, childcare is definitely a big factor. So we're excited to have our kids at it. Early Head Start, they actually hadn't been in anything because of COVID until this week. So they've just been with mom and dad, and so it's a big shift, but they're doing good. Thank you.
Well, great. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.